Hello and welcome to this part 2 of the Airbus MCDU tutorial. In this video I will show you how to take a flight in the Airbus from OTHH to OMDB using the programmed MCDU and Autopilot. We'll be flying the JARDesign Airbus 330. In the last video we configured the MCDU for the flight. Make sure to watch it. Here's a link which can also be found in the video description. For this flight we'll keep our focus on the MCDU and the Autopilot. We will depart from runway 34 right and take the LSM SID towards OMDB. Here's a chart of our departure. We'll keep a flight level at Dembo of 4,000 feet and at Labo of 7,000 feet, from which we'll climb towards our cruise flight level of 18,000 feet. We'll arrive at Dubai International Airport at runway 12 right using the Desti Star. We are currently at the gate pushing back and have just started up our engines. It is time to set up the aircraft for our takeoff. As we planned in the last tutorial, we'll set our flaps to 1.
Flaps 1.
And set our initial flight level on the MCP to 4,000 feet. The horizontal stabilizer was set automatically in the last tutorial. Now let's taxi to our departure runway. Before takeoff, we'll set our brakes for a rejected takeoff by setting auto brakes to max and turning on brake fans. Push the throttles forward slowly until the PFD says "Man Flex" in the top left corner. Now we are just waiting to reach our speed to rotate.
100 knots. V1. Rotate. Positive climb.
Gear up.
Gear up.
Let's turn on the autopilot.
Autopilot 1, cross-check. Standard
Now
Vero
pull
cross-check.
the throttles back until the PFD says throttle climb or just speed. Now the MCDU feeds the auto throttle with information about indicated airspeeds, and we will basically not need to touch the throttles before we reach Dubai. Here in front and out here to the left we have the city of Doha. We can now just sit back and reach Dembo at a flight level of 4,000 feet. Let's retract our flaps.
After takeoff checklist completed. Flaps 0.
Let's take a little break while saying goodbye to Doha. the cockpit, we're close to Dempo at a flight level of 4,000 feet and an indicated airspeed of 250 knots. Now, just set for our next waypoint, we can set our flight level to 7,000 feet, at which we need to be at Labor, and then press the knob to start the climb. When crossing the transition altitude of 5,000 feet, remember to set the radio altimeter to standard. Now leveling off at 7,000 feet on our way towards Ukila and then Labor, from which we'll start our climb towards cruising flight level. Labor is reached, and we can set our flight level to 18,000 feet and press the knob to initiate the climb. Let's take a short break while climbing towards our cruise level. We'll be back just before reaching our top of descent, where we'll begin planning our arrival in Dubai. in the cockpit, just about to reach our top of descent in a minute. Let's set our flight level to 2,500 feet. We are not going to press the knob until we reach the top of descent. Let us check the weather conditions by pressing update here and arrival. Press performance on the MCDU and the button next to phase 2 times until getting to approach settings. Input barometric pressure 1006, then temperature, which must be found elsewhere, 30 degrees, and wind conditions 220/04. Just checking again, our landing speed is predicted to about 134 knots. Now press this knob to start the descent.
We need more drag, sir.
Be prepared to use the speed brakes during the descent to decelerate. We are back on our approach to runway 12 right. Now taking the last left turn towards Dubai. We are at about 5,000 feet and our indicated airspeed is 250 knots. We're now going to make preparations for our landing. Let us turn on the ILS system by pressing the ILS button here. Set auto brake to medium and turn on brake fans. And remember to arm the ground spoilers. When going under the transition altitude of 5,000 feet, we have to change the radio altimeter from standard to actual. Barometric pressure 1006. Now you can see we are on the localizer and we're positioned a little to the left of our desired path to the runway. That's okay for now. Additionally, you can see the little purple circle to the left of our altitude on the PFD. This tells us if we are too high or too low compared to our descent profile. Ours is in the middle, which tells us that we are spot on. As you can see, we're beginning to see the city of Dubai in front of us. Extremely impressive sight with lots of tall buildings. We are now on the glide slope and can press the approach button. We're a little too low in regards to the glide slope, so I think I'll level off at 3,000 feet, which is our missed approach altitude at the same time. Turn the knob and press it, and press the approach button again. Now we'll level off at 3,000 feet, and when we're on the glide slope, we'll automatically start to descend. Now let's take over the speed. Let us set it to 220 knots. You can now see the glide slope indicator move down, telling us that we are soon going to start the descent. Let's set flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
Set speed to 190 knots. Flaps 2.
Flaps 2.
Oh, just a little too fast for this flap setting. No harm done though. Let's set airspeed to VREF plus 5, 139 knots. Gear down.
Gear down.
You can see that we are spot on the localizer and glide slope. Now set full flaps.
Flaps full.
Impressive approach, this one into Dubai. Check out these high buildings. We're just going to sit back and relax and prepare to engage reverse thrust when we touch down. Check out the traffic down to the left.
$1,000.
Now, please don't mind the red puppy lights. This is a scenery I've converted myself and I did not put the glide slope far enough down the runway towards the puppy lights. So we're going to land a little bit too early. My bad, but in terms of learning how to make this on your own, it doesn't matter.
$500.
Still a very impressive scenery.
$400. $300. $200. 100 above. 100. Minimum. 40. 30. 20. 10. Retard. Retard.
Engage reverse
Approach
thrust
phase
and take over
activated.
throttle
Reverse
control
green. Go
and steer the
around
aircraft down the
altitude
runway until you're able to disengage the reverse thrust and turn down a taxiway. This tutorial has reached the end and hopefully you have learned from it. Please feel free to comment the video and sit back and enjoy the landing from an external point of view. Thank you for watching.
79.